Good morning. My name is Romy Suster and I'll be your host today. We'll spend 45 minutes together and we'll discuss about crafting digital newsletters. Digital newsletters that part of audience development. What are we going to talk about? So we will have a look what really successful, publishers are doing to make their newsletters work. So basically, what do you have to do if you want to have a successful newspaper and newsletter? So as always, if we continue, this is just a tiny part of huge mosaic which we are trying to complete. At the moment, we are in audience development. We are in session crafting digital newsletters, and as you will see here, we will speak about audience growth, newsletter as a product, and newsletter revenue. So money, which is important. If it's your first time, what we're doing here, we will present you a lot of options. I think it's good to be here to listen about it, to learn about it, because this might become our reality in next few years. But what you're supposed to do, actually just observe and see what actually fits in your program. What could you benefit from? That's kind of the idea. So let's start engaging your audiences through email. There is a nice saying by David Carr saying, with an email, there is a presumption of connection, of something personal that makes it a good platform for publishers. Publishers seeking to stick out of the clutter have found both traction and a kind of intimacy in consumers' inboxes. Yeah, it's a nice saying, but let's see how does this apply to our case or situation. Coffee, I have to hide where it's from, but that's true. Coffee, news, and email. I'm sure you all relate to that, especially those who are maybe a bit older, like me. Uh, when I was young, let's say when I was 19, 20, I lived, with other students, colleagues of mine, and we had a lobby. In this lobby, at the time, there was no digital media. This was, still somewhere in the future. And we were drinking coffee, reading newspapers. There were 5 newspapers. And we were virtually, reading, showing, communicating. And this, made us read more and more, share more and more. Now we have the digital age. How do we apply this really beautiful sentiment to today? Let's focus on our agenda. We will speak about audience growth. So newsletters can be an important tool for both growth and retention. 2, newsletter as a product, the elements that can make a successful newsletter. And 3, newsletter revenue. Newsletters can also provide revenue streams. Well, they should. So let's start for audience growth. What does this actually mean? Newsletter statistics. Here are some really surprising statistics that show why email and newsletters are such an important tool for digital publishing success today. Publisher data show that the most popular news emails can get open rates up to 80%. Let that sink in. 44% read most of their emails each day. 73% have signed up for an email that it's triggered by an event. And daily updates are the most popular type of email. If we just review that, let's sink it in. Let's think about what we are doing in our lives. So another thing which I would like to mention here at this slide is also that Green Tech Media's newsletter visitors spend 80% more time on site than visitors from other channels. That's a data from 2018. It would be good to see what happened, in, let's say, last 4 years, if this changed a little bit, especially because of pandemics, which increased, digital interaction in almost each sector of our daily life. Another thing which I would like to mention is also that Vanity Fair newsletter readers consume twice more content than any other audience segment. Okay, these are big, let's say, publications, but how does this apply, to our case? According to industry benchmarks, publisher newsletters earn an open rate of 22%. That means 22% of your email audience will see your content. You may see even higher open rates, like, Washington Post example, where they went, over 30%. They are three really good sources. And oh, I forgot to mention, I'm not alone here today. With me, it's also Lawrence. Lawrence, it's our moderator. He'll be there, to guide you, with through the program, with different resources, links, and we would be really, really happy if you could just say hi, let us know your name, share your experience, and most important, share your questions with us. So, what did we say? Publisher data show that the most popular news emails can get open rates up to 80%. 80% is really, kind of dream number. Doesn't always happen. What is the role of newsletter? So now we are going to break down the role of the newsletter for our digital publications. Newsletter role in the funnel. This is beautiful graphic. It was again crafted by Washington Post. They call this strategy the customer engagement funnel. Of course, if we look at this, imagery here. So what does it mean? Ideally, you want readers who will eventually become your loyal readers to join. So, and these loyal readers will become, a key to your commercial success. So, how to keep them? Therefore, newsletters can play a vital, role or part in bringing your audiences back to your site and engaging with your content. Think a little bit. We are 3 billion people on the planet, and the majority of us searches every single day for information, using newsletters, direct links, and similar. So when this strategy works and you get, opens and clicks, and your turnover is increasing and engagement, this is all leading to the success, which you would call bringing readers back to your site. And what do we see here? Awareness. We all know people need to be aware, need to see you to actually come to you. Consideration. Once you have them on the side, do they really like what's there? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. My action would be call to action. Please click on the button, subscribe, and stay with me. And once they subscribed, then we make sure we engage correctly with this group of people. And if we do this correctly, word of mouth will go out, our reputation will go up, because they are basically our advocates. So I would just write down or take screenshot of this one, because it's really good funnel to follow. Next, we will go to a few case studies. Here we see Peterborough Matters. Peterborough Matters use social and search ad campaigns to grow the top of their funnel to 135.6 thousand unique visitors per month. They subsequently launched a newsletter campaign to convert these subscribers into brand lovers. So with open rates of 50, let's say slightly more than 50% visitors from their newsletters, these people were 9 times more likely to be brand lovers. But who is Peterborough Matter? Peterborough Matter, it's a local campaign which really needed to change their strategy, especially, to get more attention in this digitalized world. Newsletters can strengthen engagement. Of course, subscriber, please click on in the machine somewhere, stay with me that I get my retention out. So it's not just about attracting those new subscribers, it's also, retaining existing ones, staying fresh in their minds with relevant, timely news, to build a connection. The value and relationship that, is built here, it's vital for retaining loyal paying readers. Another beautiful example, in this case for retention, would be definitely The Economist. Of course, The Economist is very known, a magazine. So what did they do? Rather than creating multiple email newsletters, The Economist overhauled its daily newsletter to experiment with new types of content. Making these changes led to an increase in newsletter referrals of 41%. That's what we read on the slide. What does that mean? That means, okay, let's say economist, let's say you are a new startup or something, Obviously, you won't have the same resources as economists, but copying their model of retention, it's definitely also doable on a smaller scale. From that, probably when you start, you make few mistakes, but you will, these mistakes are valuable because you are still at this, start at the beginning. Will you be able to, create 41% increase if you follow this example? Maybe. It depends, as I said, if we just think about the funnel, which we mentioned a few slides ago on awareness and at the bottom, retention. So think of your newsletter as a standalone product. Okay, let's think about that. What does it mean, standalone product? If I would be selling something and my newsletter would be, an option, to be sold, how would this look like? Here it's a beautiful example. The slide is called personalization and choice. It goes back to basic marketing idea. So example is again the Washington Post. Washington Post has more than 70 newsletters alone, focusing on topics and varied, as politics, faith, parenting. You will see there, cooking, all that. 70 newsletters. That's a huge amount of work. If you would, let's say, think about your own newsletters and let's say you are, let's say, smaller team, maybe you are 3, 2, 5 people together. How would this apply to you? Do you have a capacity to, to launch 70 newsletters and make them all engaging and, with great content? Probably no. In this case, yes, it's a beautiful example, but if you are smaller, I would definitely say less is more. And start with 1 or 2, make sure your content is really well done. Align the frequency with your topic and audience. For example, if your topic is politics, then a daily update might be possible for you and your readers. However, if your subject matter is bacon or food, chances are the world of bacon isn't changing on a daily basis. We have at the moment a situation in the world where, politics plays a really, really big role. I won't mention which instance this is, because if you click on any newspaper or newsletter, you will read about it. So yes, certain topics need more updating than others, especially if they are as important as the situation today. If you go into, I don't know, gardening or similar, probably there will be seasons where, your newsletter will attract more people than in certain seasons where everything is slightly down and reduced. Another case study is Johnston Press. Neil Lay, this is CDO of Johnston Press, says, we see newsletters as a key engagement tool with our readers. There is a goal to launch more specific newsletters to different audiences to meet our readers' needs. So what does this actually mean? What does he want to say? Actually, Johnston Press worked with Google, and exactly through this program that we are talking about right now. So, and they tried to find out what readers wanted from a newsletter. So it was based on a research again. They implemented Google survey research strategy to see what might boost newsletter signups. So in partnership with News Consumer Insights, they were able to find out that by gathering insights from its readers, they were able to understand what the readers wanted from a newsletter or newsletters. I think they have more than one. Then they launched a revised newsletter strategy where they've seen continued growth of sessions after listening to the people. Then they saw growth, email traffic on the site. And what also happened was this drive to see a drive of readers. So readers were more and more engaged under certain segments, not all, also important to mention. And the sessions of these engagements were approximately a minute longer. So therefore, the data is super important if you're doing a research. And here at GNI, Google News Initiative, there are a few courses related to data, and I would really, really suggest you join those as well, because they will be complementary to this, what we are talking today. As everything, data goes in hand with pretty much everything these days. So, is a newsletter a product? Yes, a newsletter is a product. So, how can we create value out of it? What do we see here? Historically, the temptation has been to automate newsletters, to reduce work, just send out something, they'll be happy, taking the headlines and links from the latest publications. Yeah, it worked when it was new, but everybody did it, and now we have too much of that. So we have to change our thinking. A newsletter is a product of its own. A newsletter is a product of its own. This is kind of a heading which we should remember. So we should consider investing in the same way as we are investing in, I don't know, writing for main publications. If you're a journalist, you know that. And committing journalistic resources to your newsletter. And this is actually the key, of your success or our success. I'll put myself in this group as well because I'm working on a similar thing. So yes, it's not anymore copy paste, send out, make everybody happy. No, take time, personalize it, follow the data of your subscribers or potential personas, and this will work. So it's so-called handcrafted value. Yeah. If we move on to the next slide. So using the statistics to show you what your audience wants. The morning brief boasts, sorry, a 32% open rate versus 22 challenge average. So using the statistics, how would this apply to us? If we speak about case study, Seattle Times, the morning brief was an automated daily morning newsletter that the newsroom, spent very little time and effort creating. But after the paper underwent a complete redesign of the website, this was now almost 8 years ago, so in 2015, editors took the opportunity to revisit the newsletter strategy. And at the time, a lady called Christy Wade, she was, a director of this development. She said, "Since we've launched Morning Brief, we have gained a much better understanding of what resonates with our audiences, and that varied, from day to day. And by tracking down these variations and data, they got out a beautiful result of, what needed to be changed." It's a research, it's numbers as always, but a question which we always ask is, yeah, okay, good, you're talking about these percentages and everything, but what is a good open rate? So according to digital marketing, a good open rate would be, I don't know, around 22% or so. So if Morning Brief managed to get 32% above the average of 22, yes, that change was good. And maybe Lawrence in chat can share our source as well, so that you can read plus minus what they did more in detail. But let's see how much time we have. We are still good on time. Now we have a question. Is your newsletter engaging with audiences? What do you think? And also, let's see. Here's a question. What would you consider a good call to action in a newsletter to engage with your audiences? For example, what would be a good call to action? Do you want to sell something? Want to sell something? I would definitely go with wording buy, or put your detail here now and you will get something. But whatever your call to action is, make it short, attractive, and really visible on your site. Normally the colors which we see here, the basic ones, yellow, red, blue, green, flashing, that people see it. Remember, there's so much information, in this world. I don't know what you do with your, what you're attracted to or what you follow, but for example, I like a lot of things, so I subscribe to pretty much everything. After a while, I get annoyed and I just unsubscribe to games. So this is not the best practice, but let's say there are maybe 2 or 3 newsletters among I don't know, 1,000 that I really, am looking forward to when they send something. Mainly they are orientated to my profession, which is marketing and journalism. and art, because that's kind of my, previous life hobby, let's say. So big call to action. You know who has the best call to action? I should not publicize here, but the online platform, when we keep buying stuff and we need something, they have great call to action examples, and they are orange. So I think that's clear enough. Activity, crafting newsletters, checklist. Again, I think this is a good slide. Or you take a screenshot or you write down, but this would really help you move forward. So content. Did you include information that's genuinely useful for your readers? Did you bring new content to your readers? Did you spend at least 20 minutes choosing the subject line? And did you include, a call to action? Bright, shiny, so that people see it. So, and also subject line. If you're not sure, please always do A to B testing. That means you create 2 titles and then you send it out and see which title attracts more, audience. And then you go with the rest of the audience with the winning title. Technical. Is there an easy way to unsubscribe from the email? Yes, please, because people like me will love you. Is and also important when you unsubscribe. Oh, don't be sad. So sorry to see you go. You really should know, if somebody clicked, they don't want to be here, it's already fine. Make it short and simple. Not, some people try to convince, but they're just more upsetting. So something nice, short, with some positive message if possible. That's what I would do. Your newsletter uses a simple mobile-friendly layout. Mobile-friendly, very important. Did you include pre-header text? You've added social media follow buttons and sharing buttons. Did you do that? Did you test it that it works? Don't test it once, don't test it twice, test it at least 10 times with few other people if possible. Did you add all important tracking before clicking send? UTM codes, oh my gosh, otherwise you lose the data. And this will hurt because you won't get information back who did what. And did you, or do you know you're sending it at the right time for the audiences? Monday morning at 9 a.m., it's wrong time for those who work, because Monday morning, 9 a.m., it's normally when you have to get ready for the meeting. So, which is the best time? For those who work, probably time after work on a way home when you commute. As we all know, this changed in the last few years, but let's say we are coming back to normal now. Other thing, optimize newsletters for success as you would for your website. Yes. So far, we've talked about why it's a good idea to think about newsletters as a product, in itself, and why we need to treat websites and newsletters as separate products. So, growth in both products, which means newsletter plus website, is there for different reasons. Given the nature of web platforms, a website has a potential for a wider audience, which is important for awareness. But newsletters have an opportunity to grow deeply, deeply and create a lot of loyal readership, which is again great for retention. So actually, you need website to attract people, and then really strong newsletter images or content on the site that you catch. Then all those who came to your site. Maybe a nice suggestion would be a mini activity. What is a mini activity? An example, let's say sign up for one of your favorite publications and critically observe how they work. Or how they work with you, for example. Then look at the newsletters that you are offering and think from the perspective of your audience. So is this newsletter fulfilling? Does it do everything what I would want to see as a reader? Also, don't forget we don't mention that enough, but also I would definitely check every single competitor of mine. And, in this world, we have at least 10 competitors, in whichever sector we are. because it's overload of information. So check competitors, who is actually the best and why. Find out, strengths and weaknesses, and then apply it to your own example. Why don't people open newsletters? Think about it. Why don't you open newsletter? I don't open newsletter because I frantically, sign up to hundreds too many. I don't have time. I get annoyed and I click on spam when they come. That's especially when I'm stressed. I know I shouldn't speak like that, but it's just a human interaction sometimes. So many people don't open newsletters because some of them are company employees and they just get it, so it's fine. I know what it's all about. Some are members of other organizations. Then I don't know, out of this 100%, normally 22 will open this newsletter, and these 22 have then potential to be your loyal readers. Often we don't open newsletters because we check the title and it's some old news, or maybe something else came in before your newsletter and was more engaging. And as always, time is not always our best friend, meaning we don't have time for many things. Publish at a time to suit your audience. Monday morning, 9 a.m., probably not for those who work. Monday, 6 p.m., when we go home, probably. So here is an example case study, Quartz Obsession. Quartz doubled the number of subscribers to its newsletter. The open rate of Obsession is over 78%, much higher than the average open rate for media newsletters, which is about, magic number, 22%, according to MailChimp. So what happened with Quartz Obsession? Quartz Obsession is a global daily newsletter. Maybe Lawrence can put this link to Quartz also in our chat. Click on it, not now whilst I'm talking, but later, and read what they did. It's quite interesting. What happened? They sent out their newsletters at about 4 p.m. in each local time zone. That's another one, each local time zone. The newsletter, had snippets like charts, statistics, videos, cards, text, quizzes, nice thing, engaging thing. And they doubled. They doubled the number of subscribers. So be short, be sweet, be engaging, and not too difficult. So something nice about it. Oh yeah, this is Quartz. So let's see what their quiz will be today. Something that attracts, and then you can put the most important information in your publishing. I like Quartz. I follow it with my own team, and I can confirm that this one actually works. Newsletter revenue, money, you all need it. The skim. Let's check what is this case study. The skim. As a digital landscape evolves, it's sometimes beneficial to go back to basics and adapt relatively old ideas for new times. I'm reading from the slide. The Skim, which has 7 million subscribers, used its newsletter to raise 12 million in a funding round and a total of 28 million since 2012. Again, this is all data. It would be good to check what happened, during the past 2 years. I bet their numbers went even higher. Why? Because as a digital ecology evolves, it sometimes pays to go back to basics and adapt relatively old ideas for new times. If you think, I would say around 1995, let's say 1995. Before 1995, there was nothing much in the way of the digital material and so on among mainstream population. Then we got these computers, and this was kind of late 90s, beginning of 2000, when technology made a big boom and everybody wanted to be digital. Then it still took about 7 to 10 years to make it to our daily life. But we should not look down on the techniques and knowledge which let's say we used to have as humans before, because all this knowledge was developed by years and years, maybe centuries even. And if now you apply all this knowledge into digital and involve those with the knowledge into the digital world, you will get the scheme. So what I do, I always listen maybe to those who were really good experts in their own domains, and I try to introduce them to the digital world, because this, I think, is the best combination for the best result. So don't underestimate the power of a newsletter as a revenue driver, and involve the know-how from the past into the new digital. It can So why can newsletter be a revenue driver? It can be a vehicle for ads, with some of the biggest CPMs. It can also be a way to ask for donations. And as I said, Lawrence probably already posted the link. Check what Scheme is doing. They're really smart and really successful. So good example to follow. Vehicle for ads, newsletters can provide some of the highest CPMs. So we have audience, then advertising. This is another great subject which we are offering in this GNI thingy. And all this leads to page views. So while CPMs can vary widely, between £20 and £50 is realistic for most. So this is kind of realistic for most, email campaigns, and it's not even that expensive. For newsletters at the right high-end premium newsletters can, charge much more than £50, and there you have to be really, really smart, because it can get expensive. Advertising, as always, before you put it on billboard, on posters, this time that's what you have. You get the conversion rates. Advertisers generally like to keep their dedicated campaigns under £30 CPM. If you're aiming higher than that number, you should be really sure that you will get the results out, because otherwise the cost will just go up. And you please monitor every single hour, not hour, but daily, several times, that you won't get an unpleasant surprise at the end of the week. Case study, Substack. What did they do? So they launched, Substack is relatively new. They launched in 2017 and got a lot of attention from the media industry for its potential to launch a new business model for writers. I think it's free to join. I know some of my colleagues are there. And how do they use this Substack? So this is an email list platform for writers, and it helps you to do everything other platforms do: accept, subscribe, send emails, see analytics, manage an email list. And you get also a possibility to create a subscription model. So let's say you have, I don't know, 200 followers. They really like what you do. You have subscribe button. Okay, I don't know. And the price. I know of a few colleagues who are really successful on Substack. Again, this is something really good for freelance journalists, also young publishers, just to follow, and or just to find people who write about certain topics which might be interesting for you. Also, I would kindly like to ask Lawrence if you can just copy paste the Substack link. It's really, really good model of revenue. Okay, we still have 10 minutes. And we are already here at the summary. So what did we learn today? Or what would we talk about? That's maybe better terminology for that. So we know for audience purposes and growth, newsletters can be an important tool for both growth and retention. The elements that can make a successful newsletter are what? So what makes our product really good? Then we have newsletter revenue. So how do we make money? I hope this would be kind of a really good example of your checklist. We will go back to that anyway. So now here I would say, before we go to questions, if you can just think a little bit and write a few, I don't know, comments, experiences, things. What would that be? Whilst you are thinking, I will just show you what else is coming shortly. So we will have a few more sessions this month and next month here, mainly in the UKI area market. So we spoke about establishing a digital newsroom where you have to, observe people and culture, your digital product, emerging technologies, and similar. We spoke about growing your readership in one of previous sessions, which will be how does behavior change? What is readers' relevance? And how do you, build loyal readers, which is pretty much that what we're doing today. Another one, which I would really recommend, it's establishing your advertising strategy. This is all about, ad strategies, types of ads, ad experience. This one is important because it's, cost related. So I would pay attention and visit that. But there are also others. Before we go to your questions, I would just like to mention a few things. So we have deep dives. Deep dives, actually, we call it lately round table. Round table, this is, I think it's happening exactly, in 5 minutes after we finish that. And if you have time, please join us, meet us face to face, let's share experiences, let's learn from each other. So here, I think you got a link there. If not, maybe Lawrence can help us or tell how to join that. Um, it would be, reviewing what we've spoken about, what you're doing, and, sharing examples. I know there were some questions. I will come back to that. Then there are labs. There is more training available via the, Google News Initiative. There is also an email if you have a specific question where you're really welcome, to interact. Right now, it's a new thingy, new project. And then, as always, I kindly ask you for your feedback. Please tell us, was that what you heard today useful? If yes, maybe you can add why. If not, please say what you would like to hear. Um, Otherwise, I hope you said hello. I would really like to see you, chat with you. I like this human interaction. As I mentioned, I'm a bit older. When we were, discussing newsletters, like paper newspapers, actually, it was really good. It was, a nice experience, which is not here these days. And my wish would be, to achieve this sharing thing from the past in today. So therefore, I said I'm a big fan of our case study, which we were mentioning. We have here a question. When it comes to audience building, what use does newsletter have? Okay. I'll tell you my own example. When all these newsletters and stuff, and all this terminology came out, I was just, I didn't know. I like the old ways, and then I noticed, okay, if I want to stay relevant, if I want to be part of this new world, I have to embrace. I have to embrace technology. But my thing is always, how do I embrace technology and stay human? How do I do that? um, so yeah, you have to, if you create newsletters, it's really important. You have two sectors. One is you have to make sure you have a data, research the audience, what do they want, how do they want, be engaging, that they feel part of your group. That, oh yeah, I don't know, maybe you have a certain writer. I'd say, Emma writes that, Emma said that. Emma invites, people to engage in comments and similar. So it's definitely engagement, and this will then lead to growth. And if you're engaging, if you build some sort of relationship, friendship, with your reader, of course they'll stay loyal. So I am, I told you I'm subscribed to to many newsletters, mainly because I'm also curious what others are doing as well. But I read actually only 3. I'll ask you a question because we still have 1 or 2 minutes. I know a few of you are here. Can you please type in this chat that you have there? What kind of newsletters are you reading? And why? I mean, is it something that you like there? And if there is something, obviously, if you're reading, you like it, what is that you like? So we can go quickly back to our funnel here. What is it? What is it that actually? I mean, funnel is always the same, by the way. Why are you there? What is it? Engagement? Where did you got hooked on this newsletter? Yeah, for me, it was mainly awareness, consideration. As a human being, I'm attracted to all sorts of stuff, not just content. It has to look nice. I have to feel, the graphic design needs to fit with me. If they're my favorite colors, even better. And the content, they are, as mentioned, I can't really, say many examples here, but graphic design and content, this is a match made in heaven. Yeah. I don't know if there is anyone, but okay, if you're not writing, then at least I hope I can see you then in our roundtable. And for now, I think I would just. Um, so Lawrence is texting. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you for your comment. So yes, you agree with me. Design and content, it's made in heaven. And I think, keep, embrace technology, stay human, and design and content are match made in heaven. So thank you so much. I hope to see you in our roundtable, and all the best.